Hello everybody, I'm Gracely. I'm doing my BTech third year in CSC department. I chose to do my implant training in Railwheel Factory, which is situated in Bangalore. Um, Maybe I wanted to do something different. Everybody wanted to do in some company, IT company, but then I wanted to do in a government sector. Like I wanted to know how computer is being used there. So the title of my implant training is Information Technology at RWF, uh, and I take this opportunity to thank my guide, Mr. Samuel Jairaj. It's really a privilege to learn from him so many things, and I just take this opportunity to thank him. So here I go. First, before talking about what I learned, I just want to mention few things about the Indian Railways. So the Indian Railways play a vital role in facilitating the economic and social development of our country. Uh, and it connects all the geographical locations of our country. Addition to that, it provides world-class logistics and transportation infrastructure. And the biggest part is Indian Railways is the backbone of our transport infrastructure of our country. And though it has a lot of competition with the road transport, still it ensures access to cheap and affordable public transport, and it provides transportation to remote locations even though it's economically viable. Okay, before talking about modernization through computerization, I'd like to mention these two important things that Indian Railways is the world's fourth largest rail network and the second largest in Asia. Okay, here are the few applications regarding the modernization through computerization. So nowadays the customers can book the tickets online, and even the payment is done online, and nowadays even booking the tickets through the mobile is introduced. So the first one is passenger reservation system, which allows you to book online. That is this PRS application is the world's largest online reservation application, which is developed and controlled by the CRIS, that is the Center for Railway Information Services. So the next one is the National Train Enquiry System, which provides the timely and reliable information to the general public. Like anybody can just know the train running status or the PNR status and the availability of the accommodation, anything through this National Train Enquiry System through this website www.trainenquiry.com. The next one is UTS, that is unreserved ticketing system, which provides a computerized ticketing system over the entire Indian Railways. And the last one is the Indian Railways e-procedural procurement system, which is published on the IRES site. Talking about the zonal railways and production units, there are totally 16 zones in railways throughout our country and 16 production units all over our country. So here's the Railwheel Factory, which is situated in Bangalore. This is where I did my implant training. So talking about Railwheel Factory, it's situated in Elanka on the outskirts of Bangalore city, and it's one of the production units. It was began in late 70s, and the production began in 1984. So this unit is set up to produce wheel and axles and wheel sets, and the products are supplied to meet the internal demands of the Indian Railways, and a small quantity is sold to the normal customers as well. Okay, talking about the information technology at RWF. So, Railway Factory is one of those few railway units which has high level of automation for information technology, and the process is online. Okay, there are various models of data processing which are integrated to share data among departments. So basically, Railway Factory has two networks, that is a local area network LAN or intranet, and the other one is RailNet or internet. Local area network spans across the factory, administrative building, and the hospital. So this connects from the railway board at New Delhi to the smallest way station in any remote part of the country, and this network is in turn connected to the internet. So the applications that we discussed in modernization through the computerization are the few examples of these. Okay, talking about the Management Information Service Center, it was commenced in 1985. Okay, so basically it's a computer system that provides with tools to organize, compute, and efficiently manage departments. So it includes softwares that help in decision making, data resources such as databases and decision support system, people management, project management. So overall, MIS Center enables the departments to run efficiently. So it helps in any computerized process. So overall, it focuses on railway factories information and related technology systems. Okay, to facilitate the flow of information, enterprise resource planning is used. It's a software to collect, store, manage, and organize data from various departments. So it uses VBNet for software coding, MS SQL for database, .NET 1.1 for framework. Reports are obtained using Crystal reports, and then all works on legacy operating system, that is Windows 2000. Okay, talking about the integrated information system, which is also known as the enterprises resource planning. Okay, IMS is deployed and developed on the land, which comprises of these modules. The first one is the manufacturing management system. It has the following modules. These are the modules. Okay, the next system is the maintenance and support system, which has these modules. The next is the purchase management system, which has the following modules. The next one is a depot management system. It comprises of all these. And then it has the financial management system. And here's the personal and payroll management system. So these are the 6 management system controlled by the integrated information management system. Okay, talking about the data center of RWF. So in the early stages, one main frame computer was used. The specific model of being Data General Mini was used as a server, and 16 clients, that is dumb terminals, were connected. Then more than one server was used, but the servers were not interconnected, and each server had its own little network of clients. After this came the age of rack and tower servers. So the first networking OS was the Windows NT, and the client systems ran on either Windows 98 or Windows 2000. Parallelly, Unix and Oracle-based network also was there. Okay, the most important part of the data center is the traditional 3-tier architecture. So here's a typical block diagram of a 3-tier architecture, which has server, server 1, server 2, storage area system, and storage box. So in this three-tier architecture, a stack of servers are usually connected to a storage area network switch and a common storage. So for critical data, redundancy is built in the following ways. The first one is RAID, that is redundant array of independent technology, which is for data protection and data redundancy. So multiple copies of same data are spread over multiple hard disks in array, including the error correction data. And then so for clustering, both the hardware and the software is a technology in which two servers can be configured as an active, passive, or active for high availability, redundancy, and load balancing. Okay, the next one is the multiple interfaces. Both the fiber channel and the Ethernet network is provided for redundancy and failover. The last one is consolidation and virtualization. Usually the VMware is used, and most recently KVM, which is an open source, Microsoft Hyper-V and Acropolis. Okay, and there are two types of virtualization, that is metal virtualization, and then and the other one is base server, in which the hardware and the virtualization software is installed as a guest on the base host system. Okay, this is the server rack, and this is the tower racks which I took in that RWF database center. And this is desktop PC configured as server. So here's one. And then talking about the storage area network, the SAN switches. SAN switches are usually fiber based, and they provide dedicated and direct connection paths from the server to the storage box. So there are different types of storage that can be used on the network. The first one is the network area storage. The second one is the storage area network. The third one is direct attached storage. Okay, so here's the little bit theory involved. So the storage consists of different types of storage media. The bulk, which is made up of hard disk drives. Okay, also they are made up of several layers of magnetic platers, stylus, and spinning motors. So to improve on the performance, different levels of RAID configuration is used, and this improvement has led to the use of flash storage devices, which has highly decreased the price because it works same as a pen drive, but the capability is very high. But nowadays everybody is talking about the use of solid state disks, that is SSD, in data centers. Okay, this is a switch rack, that is L3 switch, and this is UTM NGFW, that is full formed as Unified Threat Management New Generation Firewall. So these both act as a perimeter security appliances. Okay, here's the three-tier architecture, that clustered servers, and then here's the SAN switches, and here's the common storage. Here's the Active Directory DNS. Sorry, the picture is not clear because this was taken from the PC. So this is configured and deployed for computer and user authentication and authorization and access control. Okay, here's a fire extinguisher, and here is flow level AC vents to maintain the required temperature inside the data center. And here's a smoke detector and roof level AC vents. These are all in the roofs. And then here's the monitoring temperature in order to ensure whether the temperature is maintained or not. So these are all the supporting agents. Okay, talking about the network architecture, the first one is the transmission medium, which has optical fiber cable and the Ethernet. The other one is network topology. So a combination of ring, bus and star topologies are used. So the transmission medium. So in order to establish a physical network, different kinds of transmission mediums can be employed. So the first one, we'll talk about the optical fiber cable. So it's very thin and semi-flexible plastic medium which conducts pulses of light with each pulse of light representing a bit, and it can support tremendous bits up to hundreds of gigabits per second. So here we have two types, single mode and multi-mode. So in single mode, the transceiver module is costly and it can cover up to 5 to 10 kilometers, and the multi-mode, the cables are more costly but the transceiver module is a little cheaper, and it can cover more than 200 meters to 500 meters. Okay, so talking about the Ethernet, so Ethernet is most commonly used in industries, home networks and all. So it uses twisted pair wire to connect to an Ethernet switch. So it's made up of 4 twisted pair. And so why do we really twist? So twisting is done in order to minimize the electromagnetic interference and the radio frequency interference. So the Ethernet is terminated into an 8-pin connector known as RJ45 jack socket, in which the pin numbers 1, 2, 3 and 6 are used for the network and data flow. The remaining flow are used for power over Ethernet. And some types of Ethernet cables are Cat5, Cat5e and Cat6. Okay, the network topology. In RWF, a combination of ring, bus and star topologies are used. So the outer fiber cable consists of multi-mode and single mode, which is laid out in the form of a ring, and some segments use bus, which provides adequate failover protection. Then the indoor optical fiber cable connecting one major department to the other follow bus topology. And finally, locally placed switches to the client species naturally are star layout. Okay, talking about the upcoming software defined data center, which is in the short form SDDC. So due to the unmanaged switches in which has no ports, are configured as wireless networks without any protocol. So RWF are in the process of revamping the network components and the data center. So the project basically is involved in changing all the active network components. So in which it has introduced a new technology called as the hyper-converged infrastructure system. So what is hyper-converged? So it refers to an infrastructure in which the distributed file system software tightly integrates compute and storage and collapses them on the same platform. Okay, it is called software everything because it provides an integrated API for the management and monitoring of the infrastructure through the software and server virtualization software. So erasure coding is a software method used in this technology, and for data protection and for data correction. And the virtual machines hosted on the HCL platform makes use of and it makes use of solid state disks in each server. Okay, the most the good advantage of this hyper-converged infrastructure is that the frequently used hot data is moved by the inbuilt control software, while the not so frequently cold data is moved to the hard disk. So the input-output operations performed by HCI is very high, and it provides easy scale-out for increased capacity of compute and storage. Also, the standard network interface per server is 10 GB SFP. And then, so with all this an idea, RWF is all set to make the move to host all the 25 ERP related servers from a consolidated virtualized HCL platform with the industry leading top of rack switches, and build an entire ecosystem around which will be largely software defined. Okay, talking about the colony network. So the railway factory has two colonies, one for its offices and another one for its staff. So colony network internet, the connectivity is through the copper telephone cable. So the DSLM switches are used to carry the voice and the data over the same twisted pair of cables, where the client and ADSL modems are used to split the voice and the data, and the other one is for the staff. So RWF is launching an ambitious project for the officers colony. That is, they're trying to introduce a wireless mesh network using point to multi-point tower stations. So this main line is planned to be over optical fiber cable with point-to-point wireless link as the redundant path, and this network is to be utilized for internet working from home concept by providing intranet resources through VPN, and to launch surveillance system with IP cameras over the same physical network. So the necessary upgrades in the coming years are the ER applications is working on the legacy software. So the capability to custom build the ERP from ground up utilizing the same business logic and workflow to so there's still RWF is using the old kind of ERP, so it's currently engaged in activities leading to appointment of project consultant who will take care of all this through the critical evolution from legacy to ultra modern. So that's their need now. Okay, many of you know about Digital India, which was introduced by Dr. Narendra Modi as soon as he became the chief minister. So Digital India seeks to lay emphasis on e-governance and transform India into a digitally empowered society. So what is the railway's role in it is that attendance.gov.in is a website to keep record of the attendance of the government employees on a real-time basis. So RWF is due to launch that Aadhaar enabled biometric attendance system. So for that, wireless access points and tabs with fingerprint scanners have been procured. Still it's not been done, it's on the way. So here's the conclusion. Railway Factory stands as an example of organization which is fully IT enabled, and with their proposed move to a software defined data center in a short time, RWF will emerge as a model government institution in the use of modern technology on all fronts as far as IT is concerned. So that's all.